hold it together throughout the whole series, because it's going to be a long one.
Right, well, we are underway with the series, so it is good. I think that little chat that we got to have really sets the scene and gives us an idea of what to expect in this matchup. We start off on Renegades' map choice of Mirage, and they'll be on the T side, looking to kick the series off with a bit of a banger. It could be a very, very long series, as you say, Mac. So they want to ensure that they are able to get the ball rolling early on in the piece. It's very difficult to come back from a 0-2 deficit in a best of 5. So I almost think this is... I don't want to say a must-win for Renegades, because I have full faith in them as a roster to be able to pretty much come back from anything. But 0-2 down, it's not quite a must-win, but it's a I would very much like to win, as they do manage to get that bomb plant down on the A site very quickly indeed. Sterling shutting a few down. Great start for the LFO roster, but Alistair and In still in the 2v2 post plan.
Yeah, solid positioning coming through, but again, In's just sneaky all the way in through Con. And Sterling, he's left it a little bit too late. No kid in play, so he's just hoping to get some extra damage. Ali just trying to stay slippery here in Pal, and Sterling may just survive. He will, towards the back of Pal there. And he'll, look, at least take his armor out of the round, but the round, of course, goes to Renegades. Ints just 100% in a round by going all the way around to Con. And a solid setup from the CTs, but they just took a little bit too long to get their way back in towards the site.
Yeah, it was a really nice couple of shots from Sterling, which, you know, I always look towards him on the pistol as someone that if he gets off to a good start in that pistol round, things can start to happen, you know? It's like, it's a little bit of an insight into the future, right? If he's hitting headshots on the pistol, if those USPs are connecting, then you can expect some fireworks a little bit later on with the rifles and with the AWP. And that's kind of what we hope to see for Direwolves. I think, however, it's not just the Sterling show anymore. I think we used to talk about it being basically Sterling, Hazard in here and there. But now I feel like there's a nice spread for the ex-Direwolves roster, right? Particularly with the addition of Savage, there's just that extra bit of firepower that we do have the ability to talk about, and that really excites me.
Some timing's really going Renegade's way here, as APOC was playing with them around the smoke. Sterling up here at window as well, just getting smoked off for the moment. And Renegades just dominating mid, looking like they are going to end towards a bit of an A split, but it's In's doing all his work solo out A main, similar to what we saw from him the other day. But APOC close range with the post-nerf Deagle can still have some big impact, but it's going to be Licky on that scout. Mac 10 retrieved, another kill found, and there's going to be a 2-for-2 trade.
Oh, not too bad as far as the ex-Direwolves roster is concerned. Obviously, they have the inferior weaponry, and to be trading evenly is not too disappointing. Licky with that scout, always a bit of a demon. We'll see if he can find one as Alistair starts to probe in towards CT spawn. It's a nice line being held by Licky, but he just rounds the corner at the wrong time. Still, Hazard chimed in with a shot from the Deagle. Now Savage as well, and In's in the 1-on-2. We'll have a bit of work to do here. He's already spotted Hazard out. Savage on the defuse, does get that tap across. In's baiting, waiting patiently, and now he knows that that final player has to sit the defuse. Just has to win the duel against Hazard, but he can't do it. The Deagle is still powerful on this patch, Mac, and the LFO roster managed to pull off a force buy in round 2 to kick off their campaign in the grand final.
Huge work coming out from the Deags, of course, you know. Pre-nerf Deag coming in clutch towards the end. 2 shots there in the body, as well as a sharp one from Savage retaking CT. Had the info of Ali's position just in front of the missiles. But again, Ali had himself every advantage in terms of the shadow advantage, so knew that CTs were swinging him, but Renegades couldn't pull it off. So great effort coming out from ex-Direwolves. What are we going to see here into the third? Looks like Renegades have gone for the hero AK-4 spy. Ali can't make it work, and no one's close to recycle it, so Hazard tries to lock down the fort for the moment.
Oh, APOC needs to be a little bit careful. Someone's crept past him inside of that smoke. It's a 1-for-1, but Hats 2 kills with the Deagle. They had no idea. LFO didn't spot him, and he has punished them for it. It is still not awful. It's 3-on-3, but Renegades have more of a chance in this round than they might have banked on.
Awkward situation. The next Direwolves are looking to salvage, but Renegades full control of the A site and jungle, so Nice open plant now coming out from Malta as ex-Direwolves go 2 towards CT to retake, but spotted here by Sicko. Nade onto him should do a decent chunk of damage, but it's just shy of his position. And still, Jungle's looking to be locked down. Sicko playing with fire and just trying to spot the info. Savage falling. So there's going to be a one-pronged approach on the retake. Has a smoky, trying to find anything now. No headshot found on the Malta. And it's Licky on 3 HP, tapping. Just trying to gain some more information. But again, that time is ticking down. It's him against the clock. And looks like he's left it that little bit too late now. Secondary pulled out. And Malta knows he just needs to survive. AK retrieved. Licky will not be able to get away with his life here. But Renegades survive with a round and a gun.
That's painful for LFO after all the hard work that they put in that previous round. It just does not seem like Renegades are prepared to let LFO wrestle control of this first half away from them. They bounce back with another round of their own. It's been a good contest so far. We're only 3 rounds in, but I feel like there is just so much to unpack in every single one of these rounds. It's a very, very good fight between both these two teams. And once again, we are going to be seeing LFO invest in as much as they can. Deagles and armor, there's a scout, there's an M4 even for Savage. So a big role put on his shoulders with that premium weapon.
Well, early boost up here on short. So playing on the off angle, may be able to find someone here, but Renegades not going to hard clear it initially. Sicko spotted on the jump up to bench, and now they're aware of this M4's position. Molly and Nade into Con. Licky somehow survives. On the edge of the Molly. Just barely getting in the way, but the Nade will be there. Oh, that was Licky's nade. That is very unfortunate. So it looked like he tried to throw it into Con through the smoke, but would have just clipped the edge, and he's gone down with the ship. So Ince gets himself a nice $600 reward.
Yeah, can't complain about that, can he?
Yeah.
Already a great start to the round for Renegades. Maybe we will start to see the ship steadied a little bit. It's a complete lack of defense on the B side of the map for LFO as well, and Renegades are headed in that direction. APOC! What? Okay. I thought he was going to get a rude awakening there, but he's good enough to hit the headshot. Still will lose his life to Inns, but Hazza has worked his way over to B. Let's see some magic from that Deagle, or perhaps not. It's on to Sterling with the scout. He'll also lose his head. Now Savage, as I said, with that M4 in hand, needing to make a difference and needs to essentially win a 1-on-4. It's 1-on-3 now. Bomb plant's gone down. He's got too many angles to check and a bit too much to do. So Renegades will eventually figure things out and get the 3-1 scoreline and also break that CT economy enough that they probably don't have to deal with a force buy this round.
I saw a world where Savage had that. I think he made that decision, a split second too late. He had that flanker coming in from apartments, which was Inns. Ali, the only man to hold with that bomb being planted. So you could see he was trying to isolate a couple of fights, maybe take the 2 on site, but it just didn't play out as he expected. And of course, they went for some mid-round aggression. They almost managed to turn the tides, but Inns picked up the pieces there at mid. And now we are going to see ex-Direwolves regroup and go for a 4-man, 5-man stack over towards B short.
Not really much else that they can do when all they've got is USPs to play with, Max. So I don't necessarily mind it. I think it's always good to see something happening on a round like this. I'm never really a fan of just the full default approach with basically your basic pistols because it never really works out. That's the kind of thing though that can happen when you have a shooting gallery, you got 5 players together, one person makes one wrong step, you pick yourself up a gun. Yeah, sure, it's only the MAC-10. That's probably not the one that you were looking for. But hey, at least it's something. You've got a bit of extra kill gold, you managed to pick up a MAC-10, maybe you can do something with that.
Well, I think the thing that definitely hurt the most was that Hats just had 5 players, all unarmored, all with USPs, standing in front of him, and you've got a MAC-10, the perfect weapon on those anti-ecos. And unfortunately for him, he didn't get any kills on the board. So he's probably going to be spewing about that. Either way, it's a relatively clean rest of the round. Molly securing that position there in window, and 4 players surviving from Renegades. So no complaints from their regards. And now on the T side, they've got themselves 4 rounds already, but ex-Direwolves going into their first real decent gun round.
You say it's a real decent gun round, but
yeah,
Sterling doesn't have any armor. There's barely any util, so It hasn't been a fun start to the CT side here for Direwolves. It would have been if things would have gone their way on some of those forces, or if they would have converted the initial gun round. But now they have to work hard, and they are working hard indeed. Sterling and APOC getting rewarded for their efforts with a couple of kills and a man advantage, even despite the trade through from Sicko.
Oh, well, Ince decides to recycle the big green for the moment. Just clears the top of stairs, rotates back, and hopes that ex-Direwolves get a little bit more hungry. We've seen them, even with these man advantages, just push for extra info. It's something that can catch a lot of teams off guard, but Renegades are pretty heads up. So we'll see if they're able to come back from this 3v4. There's only a flash and a smoke remaining on Savage here at B to try and hold things down and buy some time for Licky to rotate through, who is going to start to move out of that position at window and split up those defenses 2-2. Ince now, I believe his scope may have been heard and finds the perfect timing. APOC cannot take the big man down. The next Direwolves, where are they going to go from here?
Well, they're going to keep at least one player on the B bomb site, which is obviously good news, but I don't know if I'm a fan of seeing Licky start to work his way into CT spawn. Obviously, he's kind of hedging his bets here if he has to go to A, but it leaves Savage solo on B. Fast rotate across, though, from Licky, and bomb plan has to go down, but Inz, he covers it off just in the nick of the time. Renegades get that bomb on the floor. Info's there now for Inz, even if not the kill. Sterling with no armor is going to have a very difficult crossfire to break, but he has spotted Sicko out. That's the man with the rifle, and now it just comes down to the shot from Inz, and you know how confident Inz is in a fight like that. He'll win it for Renegades. He does it time and time again, and now Renegades is up to 5-1. It has felt like a very close half, Mac, but the scoreline is starting to creep into dangerous territory now.
Oh, Sterling had to take a bit of a gamble there. Obviously, peeking Inz was not a true option. And of course, having no armor and even getting shot in the leg, you're gone. You're out of the equation. So, unfortunate for Sterling. Tried to go for a more aggressive play. Speaking of, Renegades, again, just running it back and going for this mid control. Up against the Deagles and 5-7 of ex-Direwolves, who are going for a bit of an information gathering mission in towards a main. So APOC clears that one out and now can either cheat some players across early, set up for a bit of a retake situation. And Savage as well. On an offline, you don't see people playing in the window too often. Ince as well, jump might have been heard, and oh, there you go. Was hanging around for a second, but will just fall away, happy with one.
Well, Direwolves in with a chance here. Hazard won't be too happy with that. There was a number of shots that didn't quite go where he wanted them to. But still, numbers are a little bit awkward for Renegades. They are starting to trade down relatively comfortably, though with Sicko and Hats low on HP, this is very much still a winnable round for APOC and Savage, both of whom are now on the B bomb site. Renegades have time, and so they'll just exit and try to toy with the defenders a little bit. You'd love to see the LFO roster get a round like this, though, to just start to pull things back a little bit. Hats is sharp, though, with that AK, and APOC will lose his life. So Savage, AK, 1-on-3. Doable, but tough, especially against Renegades.
Oh, unfortunate for Savage. He's made the wrong choice this time, thinking that Renegades were still hanging around mid, but Hats has certainly made his way into an advantageous position just outside the crawl space. And it's so hard to go through the vent there whenever someone is holding that position, because of course you're right up against the wall and so much of your body shows before you can actually spot them. So rough situation for ex-Direwolves to be in. Big round from Savage, though. That's certainly going to get the confidence going, especially as the B anchor finally finding some early kills. And Renegades are just going to be contesting mid. Sterling, oh, that's a sitter missed.
Yeah, that's not one that you'll see him miss every day of the week. So one that Renegades will very much like to capitalize on if they can. Second opportunity presents itself, and Sterling won't make the same mistake twice. Licky, well done by a ramp, and suddenly, out of absolutely nowhere, there's a really solid round from LFO. That one, I think, is one that Renegades will rather quickly forget.
That honestly looked like a bit of an anti-strat, especially Licky's position, you know, holding Pal, fully confident that someone's on the other side of that smoke at A main and knew that there was someone swinging after the contact too. So big round and a quick one as well. That was probably like 20 seconds and we're already out of it. And into the next. Now looking into this one, Renegades, they are really grabbing at straws if they don't pick up this round and need to use their utility wisely. Again, just going to be hunting for mid control, but just not going out initially.
Yeah, I mean, it's strange to think that Renegades is already onto a potential eco if they lose this round after being up 6-1, but such has been the way of this half that LFO have been really getting a bit of work done in almost every single one of the rounds. They've been relatively tight.
Ooh.
Alistair catches Savage. And so now we're back to square one for LFO. 4 versus 5.
Yeah, just beat him to the pixel line there, all the way through apartments. Licky, dry push into Palace after the info comes through from all that util at mid that Renegades went for the double pump. And ex-Direwolves, even with the man disadvantage, are in a very solid position to try to hold or retake this A site. And Renegades, they are hunting to come in this direction. Smoke at the top of con to get them in position now with Ince as well, just lurking at A main. Let's see what Sterling can do on the AWP.
Not a whole lot. Alistair is having one of those rounds. Hazard! Okay. Might have been a bit of luck that LFO needed to win this round. Licky, he probably required 1 or 2 from that position and wasn't able to get it well covered off by Malta in the end. It's just Hazard who has got an AWP, but probably rather be taking that through to the next round with the way the money's looking right now for ex-Direwolves. Good shot onto Inns. You start to sense a possibility here for Hazard. It's not traditionally an AWP, and he has been caught out by Hat, so I'll hold that thought before I get too excited about it. 7-2 for Renegades. And, you know, just again, when you think maybe there's something in this one for LFO, Renegades strike back and remind us who the #1 team in the region is.
I was leaning towards the old, you know, if there's a will, there's a way. And really starting to believe after he hit the sharp one on a sicko.
I don't think his name's Will, though, right? So
No, it doesn't work as well, does it? Where there's a hazard, there's a way. That's true. Well, Renegade's going for a different approach now. Not heavily contesting mid early round. Just waiting out that molly before wasting much of their utility. Ex-Direwolves. I know head armor to play with. And there's a Mac 10 in the hands of Sicko. So maybe, just maybe, you can bonk someone with this SMG. Oh, big flash comes through, but Sterling blinded. Still able to connect, and Ali going to be hating that one.
Oh, nice shot from Hazard. Oh, very nice. A little setup in mid from ex-Direwolves. Sicko not even able to find the trade. He just has the Mac 10 in hand. Oh, never mind. It's gone a bit wrong, hasn't it? Inns and Sicko combining for a couple. Sort of gets them back into this round in a sense. It is still 3-on-2, so LFO won't be too perturbed just yet with that numbers advantage that they've got. But if they do lose Sterling, that's where the round really opens up. They've actually managed to get past Sterling without him seeing either. So could still be awkward here for Savage or for Sterling, depending on the decision-making of Renegades from here. They don't have much time though, Mac. 30 seconds.
They've played the clock down a few rounds now, but fully silently up short, unspotted by anyone, and with Sterling edging back towards the A site, who will, you know, Chucky Yui and start to come back, look to set up for the retake with Savage, who's got that full apps control. Inns aware of it, you know, just isolates this line, isolates this position, and happily plays the bomb, which was planted at default. Sicko as well, just hunting for info in market. But the CTs, they're not going to be coming from this position. So now Sicko might be able to hold, and a crossfire can be established. 2 up short, Jordan.
This might be a nail in the coffin for LFO in this half. Oh, it definitely doesn't look very good. Sicko has taken down Licky. And I think if they weren't in a rough mental state prior to this round, that is going to be one that really starts to seal the deal for LFO. And obviously for Renegades as well, on the more positive side of things, they've just won what was essentially a 2-on-5, if I'm not incorrect, at one point in time. And they managed to look pretty clean as well.
A key factor as well, that Mac 10, I think Hazard was one of the players that actually had head armor. But the position that Sicko was in at unders, you know, when you're jumping up on the block, up on that fence there as a CT, it's the same theory of being closer to the angle puts you in a disadvantage works because the T that's lower is further away from the technical wall that's just facing downwards, right? So Hazard was trying to shoot down, couldn't see the T, and his head was just there waiting for Sicko to be shot. So
basically what you're saying is they see you before you see them, and that's not good. Malta with the Galil will lose his life. So again, just a small ray of sunshine for LFO, but as of yet not converted. It is 4-on-5. But there's some good map control being taken into Palace. APOC starts to push his way. Rotations coming across from the CT side as well. They might have a good defensive setup here on the A-bomb side. If not that, at least a potential retake setup. Renegades will have to work hard to get through this round. And now Sterling spots out Sicko somehow. He's still alive. Sicko's gotten away with absolute murder. How much does it really help Renegades? Well, he does punish Sterling for his transgressions. Apoc's really making his way through mid. I'm surprised he hasn't stayed behind in T-Spawn or in a ramp or in Palace. Renegades thinking better of the A-bomb site now.
What we saw Renegades doing so much yesterday up against Order, they will look like they've fully taken a site and then they just slowly back away. Keep some util in play and wait for ex-Direwolves to invest more or any util that they have left. At this point, it's just 2 smokes. There's no kid in play and there's no one over on the opposite side of the map. So Renegades have just gone for a fast rotation and fully swindled ex-Direwolves.
It was something I was talking about with Pilski yesterday. You've sort of hit the nail on the head, I think, where Renegades, it feels like a lot of the rounds that they were winning yesterday, and maybe you can even make the argument today, have come from those mid-round adaptations and those late-round changes. And it's kind of catching LFO off guard today. That could have been a kill to go the way of Alistair, and Inns will be disappointed not to at least get the trade. Sicko now, though, not able to really make the most of the life that was given to him by Sterling by really finding another punishing round for Renegades. So I actually think Renegades will be pretty disappointed by how that round has turned out because they did everything right up to getting that bomb plant down. And even then, I mean, Alistair looked like he was in a good spot, but he just didn't win the aim duel. Obviously, In's not able to find the trade, and it starts to capitulate. The dominoes start to fall. Numbers are a bit too much for Sicko to deal with in the end. But they got the bomb down when, by rights, it didn't look like they would even get close to doing that. So, on one hand, well done by Renegades. On the other hand, from the position they are in, I think they probably hope for more.
Yeah, I think, you know, when you do have a man disadvantage, it is, you know, it's usual. It's common to see people go for a push, go for a peek here and there. But Ali was just unfortunately swung at the most inopportune time where he's stuck in the doorway and there was 2 CTs right in front of him. So from there, the setup that Renegades were trying to get into just crumbled. But you could see what they were trying to do. It was similar to when Inns and Sicko were last 2 alive, trying to take, you know, market door control, van control, and just set up that odd crossfire. But ex-Direwolves sent a few players into market this time, so learned from their mistakes, adapted on the lack of a good buy, and managed to get it across the board with some sharp shots on those Deagles. And now, look at the bank. It's looking pretty good going into the 12th.
It is. So maybe we've called the half a little bit too soon. It's obviously still looking really good for Renegades. But if LFO put on a spurt of 4 rounds, bring it back to 8-7, then it continues to be anyone's game. And they have the money to do it. They have managed to force Renegades back to what amounts to be a save, really. So there's every possibility. I know that LFO is a very solid team. It's been a rough start for them, I think. And I hesitate to use the word disappointing, but I think that's probably what it is. Given how strong they looked in that match against Renegades in the upper bracket, this is not the kind of map that we were hoping for. We were hoping for it to be really close. And so far, it's felt like it's all the way of Renegades. But, you know, again, the map's not over. It can very quickly change. And LFO are doing a good job of just locking down this anti-eco, not losing a single gun. Alistair's not going to get away with much there. And that's another nice confidence builder for LFO, who didn't have a lot of money, but now it's starting to kind of grind away. Rounds are starting to peek in here and there. Opportunities are arising. Renegades maybe taking their foot off the gas a little bit. And, I mean, 8-7, it's still possible.
What you just saw there as well, you know, fun fact, is the cheeky 1%er, Ali, I was getting spammed through the corner of the box and knew he was dead anyway, so decided to die to the Molotov just to give the opponents $100 instead of 300. You know, that's a flashbang later on, maybe. Unless, of course, I'm overthinking things. Either way, aggression at unders. APOC already in behind your boy Malta and should be able to get a free kill in just a second. Savage takes contact and APOC was hunting for a little more. Bomb at top mid as well, but ex-Direwolves putting themselves in a very winning situation right now with the man advantage.
I'd really love to see the CT side grind back this half to a 7-8 scoreline, and that would just, again, sort of reinforce the storylines that we were selling, that this actually is a match that LFO can win. It's not all Renegades, despite what the stats look like, despite what the history might look like. Last year, at least, a couple of times this series has gone the way of LFO this year, so they're definitely not out of the woods just yet, Renegades, despite the hard work that they've been doing in the first half. This round getting a little more costly for the CT side than they would have liked. Let's see if Hats and Sicko can once again put on another show. Licky, ooh, dancing with death, but he'll get the better of Hats, and so Sicko is the last man standing for Renegades.
The man has his wand in hand and may be able to pull off some kind of magic, but again, has a... Ooh. Jumps at a good time, drops that molly, forces the aggression, and will win the fight. Sicko not hitting his flicko this time. The ex-Direwolves have found yet another. So, as mentioned, looks like ex-Direwolves are certainly on route 4. That's 7 to 8 half, but they still need to lock down the final 2 rounds. And Renegades, ooh, they don't have a huge amount of money to play with this round, so they might just go for something faster, maybe look to catch the CTs off guard. Bomb towards A, and Ali mollied off, of course, without the armor, just opts for the safer approach instead of going for the initial pick. But a Deagle in play for Ints could maybe find an opening. But ex-Direwolves at the moment, they're hitting everything, so it's going to be hard for Renegades.
Yeah. I'm just going back and taking a look at the last result between these two teams on Mirage, and take this with a grain of salt, I suppose, because Soju was still a part of the Direwolves roster at that point in time instead of APOC, but it was 6-9 on the CT side half. So 6 rounds on the CT side and 9 on the T side for these two teams.
Malta's just managed to get into this position. I didn't think he was initially heard, but maybe the Sandwich player did. Ince finds Sterling. APOC not going to be cleared here at Sandwich, and things just get hit. The accelerator pressed by Renegades, and they're getting a couple of things through. Licky at least able to play at long range. Sicko has retrieved that M4 though, so could have some kind of impact. Smoke thrown over towards the top of Con, and they're looking for the safest position to push, but it's Licky just isolated a couple of fights. Hazard pins Ins in, and there you have it. ex-Direwolves with a 6th. Won't fall to those pistols, even though with those positions Renegades got into, I was a little bit worried.
No, another really nice round from LFO, and what I was trying to get at in that one was that, you know, maybe 9 on the T side is actually the pass score for this map between these two teams, if history is anything to go by. That round, obviously not one that Renegades would be looking to have finished off in their favor, but this one could be a big tipping point in the map, and maybe even the series as well. You know, if this map goes the way of LFO, they're up 2-0 in this series. It almost feels like it's unlosable from there. It's obviously not in reality, but you feel a great degree of confidence if you're up 2-0 in a best of 5. So I think it's a big important one for LFO to finish off here, just to really reinforce that they are back in control, at least of some aspects of this map. They'd still be down by a round going into the second half, but I think 7-8 is about as good as they could have hoped for given the way this one started, and it certainly builds that momentum, continues to build that momentum for LFO. So Renegades will be looking for that 9th, and if they don't get it, I wonder if they have just missed out on a trick here in the first half.
Well, early aggression from APOC again, identifying that Renegades aren't huge PAL players, and then just pushing time and time again, but Renegades now just going for a relatively mid-round bust towards the B site. Hazza has that pillar to play around, and Savage as well, just stopping that bomb from getting to site. So Renegades now in a bit of a rough position. Sicko really needs to connect, but it's going to be Sterling flicking on the man. Ins, it's all up to him in a 1-on-3, and he's already found 2, so might be able to make this work. Great trades coming through, and 50 seconds on the clock.
If you'd want to have one player in a situation like this, it is Ins. Apoc spots him out, takes the duel. Risky business. It's a one-on-one that's been given over to Ins, but now Licky provided some time to just set himself on a line, and well, it seemed like Ins was expecting it, but he didn't quite hit the shot. So 8-7 in the end is the scoreline in the first half. A wonderful fight back from LFO, and that sets the stage fantastically for the second half.
Everything about the world so much better. When I hold you in my arms, I wanna be here. Every day and every night, so much better, so much better. Better, so much better. Better, so much better. Tell me when your heart is lonely, we could run away together. 'Cause when you're by my side, I love it. We can leave the world behind us. You make everything about the world so much better. When I hold you in my arms, I wanna be here. Every day and every night, so much better, so much better. Better, so much better. Better, so much better.
And overthinking. Oh, I've been thinking about the time when we were young and free and wild. Countdown from 3. I'll be as quick as I can. There's nothing stopping me, it's all for you.
Definitely a much different looking scoreline at the end of the half than what we were expecting. At one point, it was 6-1 to Renegades. Then it looked like an 8-2 to Renegades. You thought they're off to the races. They've won map 1 already. But LFO, aka ex-Direwolves, have done a really good job of coming back into this map, and they're going to have to force Renegades to fight hard if it indeed is going to be Renegades to convert this map. Of course, there is every possibility that it still goes the way of LFO. Historically, these two teams have been a little better on the T side when facing against each other on Mirage. So there is an open door, an opportunity for Direwolves. They just need to grasp a hold of it, and they're doing a good job of that in the pistol. Pistol kills coming out for Sterling, and a 4-on-5, or rather a 3-on-5 now that Renegades have to negotiate.
Yeah, not bad at all. Malta now just look to take point out of the doorway. Ince as well, just trying to hold that swing and just trying to watch as many angles as they possibly can. Rush comes through now. Is just going to be playing here from empty, but it's a collapse from ex-Direwolves. And there you have it. 3 kills picked up at the end of the round, and not a single casualty suffered by ex-Direwolves. So, already, now Mirage, letting this one get into the map pool, has already had more success than what we saw when they last played Inferno. So, that already warrants that Inferno ban. And ex-Direwolves already tying up this game and starting the second half so damn well. What do we got? Renegades now. Looking to go on the aggression, forcing up into the second. And with the CZ close range, APOC may not be expecting it. Sicko trying to take contact, and there you have it. 2 taps to the head is enough to find one, but not quite the second. Savage down to 34 HP. Sicko just dancing over the top. A ticket, trying to sell a couple of tickets to the Sicko show.
Sterling out in no man's land as well. He's going to lose his life. It's a bit awkward for ex-Direwolves. He needed a bit of assistance, and he didn't quite get it. Licky, I think, has spotted Malta there as he just crept through the vent. So he's going to send Savage back to his direction and deal with what's happening over on B. The bomb, however, though, Mac, is on A. Now, it's a tough one to retrieve, but at least it's a 2-on-2 here for ex-Direwolves, and they've got the AK in play, so they've still got that punching power.
Yeah. We'll see if they manage to find some time in Licky. Drawing some attention from Con may just be the answer here. However, it could be Savage taking first contact. You can see them just slowing things down, looking to coordinate the strike and trying to get close to some angles so they can at least trade things through. Licky clearing under Balkers before Savage swings through, and there you have it. Back to the 2-on-1. They know Sicko's position from previously. It's going to be Savage swinging out off of the initial contact. Sicko on way too wide of a line, so he won't be able to get back to safety.
That's a really big win, I think, for LFO, because last half, that was the kind of round that Renegades was winning all the time. It was kind of unbelievable, the amount of instances where they actually managed to convert a numbers deficit. But if ex-Direwolves can do the same thing on their T side, they've already set themselves up for success, right? They've won the pistol, they've converted the second round, now they're against just USPs. This one should be straightforward. They'll be up 10-8, economy's going to be looking good, Renegades are going to have to fight to get into the half. I mean, everything seems to be going the way of LFO at the moment. It's something like 7 or 8 rounds in a row now for them if we continue on from what we saw on the CT side.
Look at this. Renegades all the way in through T-spawn. So just gaining a huge amount of information. You got Ali, you got Malta, who just really need to try to slow down this push and buy some time for the flank to have any influence. But ex-Direwolves just going straight in towards the B site. Licky as well, not expecting a flank from top mid. Oh, and he's fallen back to safety just in time. So potential for an AK to be picked up now, but they really need to find him here in ladder. And it looks like they're not going to. And this AK just tears the unarmored CTs to bits. So you could see a world where, yes, that one worked out for Renegades with all the world of information they had, but not a single casualty suffered from ex-Direwolves. And that's going to be a 2-round lead.
Yeah, Licky not going to be making any mistakes there. This will be the first bite that we get to see through for Renegades. How good is it? It's pretty decent, not too shabby at all. Good amount of utility for the vast majority. Sicko's still got a bit of money in the back pocket, so he'll grab some as well. So Renegades are rolling quite nicely into their first gun round, but as I said, it's been all the way of ex-Direwolves. They've been looking very, very good since they started that streak of rounds on the CT side, and they've converted that across to the T side as well, and they've been doing it cleanly, which is a really good look.
Yeah. Especially for their financials. So early on in the half as well, starting to build that one and give themselves a fallback plan if they do lose a round. Savage, barrel in the wall, so not going to be spotted with hats on the jump peak. Just looking to find maybe a timing. But speaking of, Ali down to 16 HP, nade to follow, and Ali, he's going to catch that one.
Dunked him. APOC won't quite manage to win the duel against Inns. The headshots coming through with the goods for the M4. Still a very costly HP deficit for Renegades at the moment, and ex-Direwolves starting to pick the pace up in the direction of the B bomb site. Inns continuing to do work, though, in this round. Is starting to pick apart the T's. Savage needs to get a bit of work done on this entry, and he'll do just that. A double! And he goes for the third, but he can't quite land the shots. The nade, though, right on top of it. Savage is an absolute god, and that's going to be picked up by Hazard to finish the round off. That is a massive one for Direwolves.
And the chest bump as well to finish. Lovely little bit of teamwork coming out from the young lads on ex-Direwolves. But again, Savage just read that like a book, saw the shadow of Hats looking to peek and knew he was still there at Van, lined it up for the second and then nade to dunk for a third. Big round for ex-Direwolves to win up against Renegades first by now. They need to hold down the fort again. This time there's a few Deagles in play, which still have that 2-tap potential for the moment.
It's true, but they haven't felt overly threatening today. And I probably just cast a curse. We're going to see Renegades win a round with the Deagles. So hopefully not the case for ex-Direwolves, because they've been really putting in the hard yards. You don't want to see them drop around like this. It would be pretty classic of Oceanic teams to get into a great position against Renegades, and then for some reason, either a round like this or a clutch comes out and it all falls to bits. So
yeah,
see what the mental fortitude is like today for ex-Direwolves. They certainly seem to be in a very good place with the win already in this tournament against Renegades, and the way they've been going about Mirage. They were in a massive deficit, but they've ground their way back into it. Now they've got the advantage. Just got to ensure they don't throw it away.
Well, flash to Con. Renegades just trying to read off all of the utility where ex-Direwolves are setting up for. But just holding their ground for the moment. Sicko aggressively positioned up on the balcony and just looking to swing off of Ince's info here, who's just jiggling in front of the missiles. And has this flash as well, just to go for extra info. Oh, 4T's blinded. And Ince just looking to get back to safety. Off the back of it, though, push comes up. Con Licky, he's found one, but the PAL control is still there. Ex-Direwolves, how heads up are they in the post plant?
Oh, it's not a post plant yet, Mac. The bomb's not down. Sicko's not going to be given the opportunity to deny the plant, however. So it's not as big of a risk anymore for ex-Direwolves. Hats take a bit of a peek through. Nice tag onto Savage. 2-on-3 still. Numbers are looking good for ex-Direwolves. They have decent post-plant positions. It's a good crossfire setup. There should be no world where Renegades manages to win this round. APOC seems to have gotten the job done. And Sterling makes it confirmed. 12-8 now for ex-Direwolves. They're one step ahead again. And now 4 rounds away, it gets ever closer. We're going to see a tactical timeout from Renegades. I'm sure there is a lot for them to talk about. This has been unprecedented, really, from the ex-Direwolves. It's now 9 rounds in a row, 10 rounds in a row, I think, since they started getting those on the CT side going. And I gotta say, this is looking pretty dire for Renegades. It just seems like everything's going the way of LFO right now. We need to see some kind of adaptation. We need to see some kind of magic.
Yeah.
We need to see some individual stepping up. Maybe Alistair with the AWP needs to get aggressive. Someone needs to enable him to try and take an early risk, because something needs to change. Something needs to happen for Renegades. And it's just not at the moment. So they got to turn on.
Oh, well. Tactical quickly turns into a technical. And if you have a look up there on the top right of the screen, of course, this is just map 1 of the series. Overpass, though, defaulted as the map advantage for ex-Direwolves. So if there's a world here with, 4 rounds in the lead and they take map 2, then they have 3 more maps to close it. 2 of the maps, of course, are both maps that they managed to beat Renegades on the other day. And they only need those 2 maps to win here in DreamHack Open for Oceania. So really, Renegades, they really need to find out what the issues are, try to adapt quick, smart, because here on the CT side, which is, one of the strongest sides, you look at the stats for both the teams. The CT side is where they usually excel. And they need to start doing that. They really need to pick up their game, to get back into it, because ex-Direwolves, if they're given these sites, they're just playing so damn solidly in the post plants.
How well has ex-Direwolves been playing individually throughout this tournament as well? You go back and look at some of the top players for this one. Hazza sits atop the pack right now, 1.25 rating overall, so he's been having a good one, and that is always a good sign for this team, right? And what I was talking about a little bit earlier, which I think is a really, really fantastic look for this roster, is that now with Savage in the roster, you don't just talk about Hazza, you don't just talk about Sterling. I felt like those were the two big players. You'd often get really good, consistent performances out from APOC, and he would probably step up in big games as well. But now it feels like you've got this extra opportunity across the board for individuals to really make an impact. We've already seen it. I mean, Savage has had a couple of really nice rounds so far. We sort of questioned, would he come into this as maybe an inexperienced force and have a bit of a struggle on map number one? Would those nerves get to him? Anything like that? Absolutely does not seem to be the case this evening, Mac. He's 16 and 10. Maybe he's even better than that, actually. Let me just check inside server. 16 and 11, so he's actually worse. I've done him a bit dirty. But overall, he's been having a really, really good game. I go back to that 3K that he got in such an important round for ex-Direwolves. And I say, you know, this guy is a future star, I think, for maybe not just ex-Direwolves. Maybe he's got bigger and better things on the mind in the next 12 months, in the next 24 months. I think this is a guy to really keep an eye on.
He got to see a fair bit of action, you know, as the B-site anchor, which is something you don't see in a lot of games. Maybe they were trying to abuse him, but Savage is really just firing up. And he was one of the players we were talking about needed to fire up for ex-Direwolves if they were to take this series. So a very solid start. But there's a long way to go in a best of 5 with the map advantage. Now, of course, tech pause over. Hazza already chipped down to 85 HP. There's still plenty of util to use for both sides, as ex-Direwolves look to go for some late mid control. No CTs here to defend for the moment. Just going 3-2 split for Renegades.
Hopefully those technical issues have been sorted out for Renegades. It was just a little ping spike by the looks of it, and they seem okay for now. A lot of util being used early on in the piece here, and Renegades starting to get a little bit low. Only the one smoke left here for Sicko, a couple of Molotovs on Inns and Alistair. They don't really have a whole lot to defend these bomb sites with if the push does start to come through from ex-Direwolves.
Okay, late top con smoke coming out from ex-Direwolves, just looking to pressure up towards the top. And with that A main control as well, it looks like ex-Direwolves will be going for the A split as that smoke fades. But there could be some more util coming through. Speaking of coming through, they're just going to go off the timing. Smoke not faded just yet. Sicko here at Sandwich finds himself the double. Ints, he's going to fall as well. And it's Sterling in a 1-on-4. Man's been pretty sharp with the AWP, but he's not going to be able to back it up with a rifle this time. And a solid hold from Sicko there at Sandwich is more than enough to start to turn the tides. And Renegades finally find themselves around here in the second half.
Yeah, that's the first round that they have managed to get on the CT side, so has to be a bit of a weight off the shoulders. It's good news, but it's not enough to break the T-side economy. We're going to see AKs coming out across the board. Sterling still has enough to scrounge together an AWP, even has the armor there as well, so it's really not a shabby buy at all for the Ts. And Renegades kind of still teetering on the precipice. Just enough damage done in that last round for ex-Direwolves to keep Renegades thinking. Different approach to this round, though, from Renegades. Aggression in towards A ramp. They set Alistair up on that line. They're seeing that there's not a whole lot happening over on A so far for ex-Direwolves. And it might start to prompt a bit of a response from the CT side.
We'll just go on for that triangle formation over towards the A site with Ali right up at A ramp. Just, I believe he's positioned on the line, waiting for a swing. Ex-Direwolves looking for this mid control. Late again. And just holding a whole lot of util just to go for something later on. Right, window smoke coming through. Potential for a boost in too. And Sicko's in jungle to defend.
Well, ex-Direwolves have done a good job of splitting the map in half. It's going to be a long rotate for those two B players.
Ooh,
If
Ali had that
ex-Direwolves
tick.
can hit the entries on A, then they might be in a very good spot. Starting to see a bit of a float coming across, though, from the CT side, and Inns just doubles down. Well covered off by Alistair, who ensures that at least there's going to be a trade for the death of Inns. Maybe something's awoken inside of Renegades, because these last two rounds have looked a damn sight different than every other round we've seen in this half. It has just been a complete shutout by the CTs. And that is the Renegades that we know and love. Up to 10 and 12. Still a deficit. Money is still not perfect, but it is starting to get there for that CT side.
Yeah. Just a great adaptation coming through from Renegades, realizing that it wasn't a faster approach from ex-Direwolves. So they held onto their util, they used it appropriately as they started to head towards the 30-second mark, and then just bought so much time, as well as, you know, in standing there getting a 2K from a very crucial position as well. Obviously played a huge factor. There you have it. So after the tech pause, everything seems right as rain for Renegades, hoping that ex-Direwolves haven't lost too much momentum, because they were really putting on a show. Something they have lost, though, is their bank. They're down to the pistols.
On for the hero warp. So Sterling might feel like he's got an opportunity here. Maybe he was the one to make that call. Maybe the team was the one to make that call. And they're putting a lot of onus on his shoulders. He's a very good player, but this is going to have to be a very impressive round. Maybe not from him, maybe from Licky. Nice timing. Gets the kill onto Sicko. And ex-Direwolves start to feel like they're going to make some inroads into the A bomb site, which at the moment is relatively undefended. It is, however, Inns that is hiding behind Ticket Booth right now, and that is a scary player to be going up against. Unless, apparently, your name is Sterling, who continues to put in some good shots with that AWP. He'll take a look at short, make sure that Alistair can't be pushing forward, won't be baited by the shoulder peek. And the bomb plank goes down on A. It is an important round now for Renegades, a tough round now for them. Guns have been retrieved, and the ex-Direwolves are rampaging through Mirage. Alistair and Hats surely now just have to save the guns. That is a disappointing turn of events for Renegades. It was starting to look really good. It was starting to get there. 2 rounds in a row. You thought a third surely on offer when they're up against just the pistols, but ex-Direwolves once again pull a rabbit out the hat.
You can really see the chemistry for ex-Direwolves certainly coming into play, especially when they get in those post-plant situations. Just then, you had Licky coordinated with APOC to swing from Firebox. APOC close there. That Texter swinging as well off the contact and just locking down CT control. So really heads-up play, really great coordination coming through from them. And it's netting them all the rounds they need, which, you know, if they get 3 more, then that's map 1 going their way. And Renegades, look, they've got some money to buy up again, but how many more rounds are they going to be able to do this? And each round that they do get, they need to win as cleanly as they possibly can.
Now, it's not just map 1, Mac. It's technically map 2 of this series, because the ex-Direwolves have that map advantage. It's important to remember. Alistair starts the round well with a nice pick onto Licky, but ex-Direwolves look like they have a bit of a plan set up here on the A bomb site. They're making noise. They're not messing around. Shots are coming through on both sides, and trades are good enough to give Renegades the player advantage still. Rotations have come across as well. And util's starting to go down, but Savage, once again, the difference maker. He pushes forward, tries to find Alistair, who's all over it. He's aware, dances back behind inside of the smoke. Savage is dodging bullets left, right, and center. Some are still connecting, but he's still alive, Mac. And Alistair walks into the fire, but still gets it done. What a contest between these two teams. Sterling perhaps had a timing if he would have continued to work his way forward, but now Alistair set himself up on the line. Hats is going to check above.
Yeah.
And Renegades get 1 more.
Well, there you have it. Savage just trying to find a timing in the smoke, survived for a second, but Ali knew that he was low, heard how many times he was hit by the P2, by the AUG, and just swung him in window to lock things down. And then as well, you got Hats under balcony in a solid position to take a fight if the AWP came around the corner. But he heard him jumping up over the top. Just jumping up on the bricks there. Great coordination to lock down the round again. So Renegades flipping the burger again, finding themselves another round. And they're just looking for the cheese, looking for the sauce, looking for the brioche bun, if that's your go-to.
I think you're getting a bit lost in the sauce at this point.
Always am, mate.
Look, money is still a concern on the CT side. Even though they're winning these rounds, they've dropped one here and there. The money's starting to almost get reset. Some of the rounds that they're winning are quite close affairs as well, with 2 guns alive, 1 gun alive, something like that. And ex-Direwolves have another trick up their sleeve, don't they? Look at this. 4 Mac 10s and a Tech 9. I think you can imagine what we're going to get out of a round like this.
www.www.com. Are we going to see it, though? They're trying to go faster over towards apartments, but it's just the smoke invested, not the molly from Hats as well. So it slowed things down for the moment. Ex-Direwolves hoping that a molly was dropped, but now they're going to have to deal with that if they do go for the site hit. However, B site is currently the weak side as well.
Yeah, it is. It's just Hats. A nice flash as well. It's going to allow ex-Direwolves out. Savage starting to take some presence on short, but oversteps a little bit, and Hats will execute him. APOC suffers much the same fate. Renegades are holding strong despite losing HP all over the place. Bomb plant, though, is down, Mac, and Licky, he can chase Hats into the ladder room, get himself an AUG, and set himself up on the line on short. He's going to have to do it alone, though. And he's picked up the pace a little bit. He's gone all the way up to Macca's. Now the smoke's coming down on top of him. Licky, this would be an absolutely massive clutch if he could get it, but he had no idea where Inns was. He had to go fast. Ali was on the defuse. Renegades get away with another, but another costly round. Again, 2 guns alive for the CT side. It doesn't help their economy.
Just hitting that flood button. Ince as well with the smoke towards the left side of the golden arches there. Just perfectly played. Then make sure he can't get across there either. Licky had to take a gamble, cheat those angles, not clear all of them, and that was his downfall. But everything else going pretty well, and, you know, able to buy up again. They got to go a little there for Savage, open the hands of Sterling, and some decent utility, but it's just some mid-control this time. Ex-Direwolves just going back to the old default.
Well, slowly but surely, we're seeing the scoreline get closer and closer. It's 13-12. The gap was much larger than that. It was up to 4 at one point. Now it's down to 1. Nice opener for Hazard, though. You might see it stretch back out to 2, and that is going to be a very dangerous 2 for Renegades, considering it'll be 14 on the board for Direwolves, then just a couple of rounds away, not to mention CT side looking pretty bad with the money. Alistair makes the difference. He makes a little bit of a play in the mid-round, pushes into ramp and catches APOC out. So any semblance of an advantage for Direwolves has shifted away.
Okay. So In's dropping that smoke in the middle of Con, hoping that it buys him some extra time to rotate and help the B site players. With that top con smoke coming out from ex-Direwolves. However, Licky, he's solo trying to make his way in through apartments, waiting for the contact to come through before he makes some noise, but looks like he's gone that little bit too late as Hats just holds it down on the B side. It's Sterling in a 1-on-3, and look, sometimes you'd back him, but up against Renegades, and in these situations, he's not had a lot of success, but maybe I've spoken too soon, Jordan.
Yeah, it's a long rotate still coming through here for Alistair. So at the moment, it's just Inns. Sterling is dancing around the bomb site, trying to find the 1-on-1, and that was close. You could see the flick come across with that. Oh, there's a Molotov delivered by Alistair to the bench, apparently. Who's going to get it? Looks like... Inns eventually does go for it. I was wondering what was happening there, but 13-13 is the scoreline, Mac. It's finally equalized once again. Renegades have done enough work in the last 5 rounds, 4 of which have gone their way. Bring it back to an even scoreline, and now maybe the pressure is back on the shoulders of ex-Direwolves. They've got a lot of thinking to do here because their money isn't quite in the position it needs to be for a full buy. You've got a couple at 4K, Hazard's at 3.8. It's not so bad there, but Licky and APOC are a little poorer. So do we see the 3 AKs come out alongside a couple of SMGs or Galils or, you know, maybe even Tech 9s or something like that, depending on what kind of strategy the T side wants to go for, or something else to come through here for Direwolves? It's not the be-all, end-all, you know? This is the 14th for whichever team does win it. But every round at this point really feels super important because there's only so few left in the map. Tech pause coming through as well, by the way, for Renegades once again. Looks like maybe a bit of a ping spike coming through.
Well, you know, you can thank lockdown. You can thank it being absolute prime time, 9 p.m. As the night goes on, though, I'm sure this particular issue should, you know, resolve itself.
Yeah, 9 p.m. on a Sunday night.
Yeah.
Everyone's got to get the Netflix in before they go to work tomorrow.
I think
Not sure why
everyone's
you'd be watching
this
that
game, Jordan, honestly.
I was going to say, you should be watching this game, not Netflix. It's really delivering right now, isn't it? 13-13. Couldn't have asked for a better first map. I'm not sure who I'd actually like to see win this one as well, just for the storyline of the series. Do I want it to go to Renegades to put us at 1-1 for the series, or do I really want to see ex-Direwolves get that 2-0 lead and then, you know, see what kind of magic can happen, whether it is going to be on their side or on Renegades' side. You know, a 3-0 today for ex-Direwolves, what a storyline that would be.
Yeah.
What a storyline Renegades coming back from a 2-0 deficit would be as well. I mean, maybe we're going to get neither. There is still that possibility as well. But you kind of get the sense that if Mirage goes the way of ex-Direwolves, they've been looking so damn good on Dust 2 that maybe that's the series for Renegades. They might actually really need this win here on Mirage.
Yeah, well, I think they certainly do with how ex-Direwolves have been performing for the last week, not just tonight. But look, it's even. Renegades have brought the game back. And looking at their financials, they definitely need this round. This could be, you know, the be-all, end-all round for essentially both teams. Ex-Direwolves forcing up into this one. They've at least got the round loss bonus in their favor. But other than that, they've got no hazard to play with here, so we'll see what they're going to be able to do. Minimal util already used. Renegades dropping some mollies, and that aggression into Pal was the perfect counter strat. With that double AWP picked up, Ali making some impact happen.
Yeah, a bit of a juggle going on here as well. Ex-Direwolves have kind of run themselves into an awkward position now with 3 smokes and 1 flash to get into whichever bomb site they do end up going for. It's not a whole lot, and Renegades are not feeling the pressure in this round either. They're really hanging on to their util. 1 minute left for ex-Direwolves, and they're a bit wishy-washy as to which site they do want to go to at this point in time. APOC is still locking down a position in Palace. Inns gets a little bit of info onto ramp. I mean, I guess you've got enough smokes to get into this A bomb site, but with a player already on the balcony and only the 1 flash to send players into A, can't see this going well for ex-Direwolves unless they're hitting their shots.
Okay, well, let's see if Inns has some clarity here under balcony. Well, not going to be able to think about it because his head's gone. And that's the equalizer, but Sicko sharp with this big green, able to have a little bit more impact to Savage Falls Ali as well. The double AWP setup in CT is just providing absolutely no place that is safe for ex-Direwolves to plan, but they're going to fight for it and able to get the bomb down. Now it's all up to Sterling in a 1-on-2 and a chance.
He just 2v1s the AWPers. I thought they were dead and gone when those 2 AWPs were set up in the CT spawn. There was absolutely not a lick of util for Direwolves, but it seemed like they don't need a lick of util. They just need Licky. And now they need Sterling to win a 1-on-2, and he's definitely the man that's capable of doing it. Malta thinks he's cleared out ramp. Smoke's going to go down on the bomb. There's a tap, and Sterling takes the peek right into the headshot. Well done from Hats. Renegades find the advantage once again on Mirage. It's felt like such a long time since they had that, but now on the precipice of perhaps converting map 1 of the series.
And there you have it. Have a quick look at that economy. Ex-Direwolves, of course, with the round loss bonus and the plant, very crucial to get another buy through. So at least have that working in their favor. Renegades, however, still not a whole lot in the tank. And if they lose this one, ex-Direwolves bring it back to 14-14. So, oh, speaking of, they're just going to be going straight out. Powell, In's only able to find 1 this time. And it's up to Sicko to try to pick up the pieces here over from Ticket.
Well, again, they're running out of util, Mac. There's just the 1 smoke here for ex-Direwolves. How can they make this work when there's a double AWP on the CT side? Someone has to make a play.
extremely good mid-rounding all throughout DreamHack Open. So we'll see what they're able to do again here in the 4-on-4
Could be
Malta.
APOC. If he finds
Might
the timing through the smoke.
Yeah, that's it.
And he's waiting patiently. Malta still kind of watching. Has APOC made a step? Someone has. It's going to prompt the push from Malta. APOC will lose his life. Hats helping him out from the window. An important, crucial frag. One that feels like it might be a round winner and maybe even a map winner for Renegades. Because Savage, Sterling, Hazard, they have nothing to play with. No flashes, no smokes, nothing. No mollies.
Oh. And Hazard gets the timing going up on the box first and just barely seen, I think, the barrel there of Malta running into him, but Ali able to get that late trade. Sterling, he's tapped it, waiting for another re-peek, and he might not expect the second man, but that flash came from someone over the top. Now, Ali given a second opportunity, maybe even a third now as Sterling keeps taking the fight. Goes for the secondary. He's just going to keep pushing Ali into the corner, who gets another re-peek off with the AWP. He did not like that situation, but he's fought for it and won another for Renegades. 15-13 now for Sterling. It got messy for the man, but he had to make a decision. And he forced the one-on-one that he had, knowing someone else was over towards CT. But it didn't go ex-Direwolves' favor this time, and Renegades a sigh of relief with the 2-round lead.
Yeah, you got to feel a bit sorry for ex-Direwolves. I mean, those last 2 rounds, they were so close. But neither having been converted now puts Renegades into at least overtime on map number 1. All the hard work that ex-Direwolves did to get back into that first half, to get the lead on the second, might be for naught if Renegades converts this round here. It's 4 Galils and an AK on the T side. Not a huge amount of util either. A lot of it's already been used to get the T side into mid. And no advantages secured just yet. Smoke fades perfectly. Hazard puts the initial AK to good use. And maybe still a sliver of hope for Direwolves in this round.
I think Malta just miscalculated the timing on that smoke fading. Didn't expect 2 players to be sitting in it, but ex-Direwolves, what a way to get an opening. However, the bomb is now in the hands of the big man, Alistair, over towards short 2. So, it's going to be a rough retrieval mission now that the numbers are getting thinner and thinner. Hazard pushing forward, though, and able to take down the big man. And
he should be able to get the bomb too.
Yeah.
He's cropped a bit of damage on the way in, and now it's on to Savage, the young gun of the ex-Direwolves roster. He's been really impactful on this map. He's had a bunch of great rounds, but how can he even retrieve the bomb with relative safety? Has himself an AK, and he's going to try and take the challenge here against Inns. Ballsy play, but Inns exits through connector. With 24 seconds left on the clock, Savage is going to have to pick the pace up here, Mac. Everything working against him in this round. He's just going to need to pull off an absolute miracle for his side, and he can't do it. Inns, 26 and 21, very good on that map. Was the front runner for Renegades, but